My goal is just one for them. But I want to make sure everybody who attends absolutely loves speaking, because when you love speaking, speaking loves you back. So when you love the art of communicating, sharing, giving, inspiring, motivating, then good things will come out, right?
Hi, and welcome to the Loan Officer Team Training. My name is Irene Duford. I'm your host, and I am super excited to have with us today Roberto Monaco. He is an amazing presenter. He's an amazing teacher. He is amazing in every way possible. He comes with love to everyone around him, and he just attracts people that are great people because of the way he is. So welcome today, Roberto.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Irene. So grateful to be here with you and your listeners today. So excited.
You have so many things to share with us. And loan officers in particular, anybody, you're great at teaching people how to communicate, how to present, everything. I want to ask a couple of questions that are going to help people to just learn how to present better. So what would you recommend for people to learn how to present better? And I don't mean just presenting, like most people, when they think of presenting, they think of giving a talk or standing up in front of people. But what you taught me many, many years ago, Roberto, is that presenting is not just about presenting to a big group of people.
Exactly.
So explain to us what you mean by that.
Yeah. So there's a combination of things that makes a good presenter or separates a great presenter from an average presenter. But one of the things, Irene, I think is curiosity when you are preparing your audience. A lot of people, they heard about, okay, I want to study about my audience, but they don't, right? And the idea is that the more curious you are about your audience, the more you research, the more you understand their goals, their dreams, their aspirations, their problems, the more you know what's important to them, the more you're going to be able to customize your message. Because people who don't spend too much time learning about the audience, guess what? They have a canned speech that probably done 500 times or 100 times, but the message, the presentation doesn't land because it does not customize to that particular audience. Does that make sense? So the first thing is like, how much do you love your audience? How much, I mean, truly, I would say the word love, like people like, Roberto, how can you love someone you don't know? Well, you love their humanity.
Yes.
You love the part of them that just like you, just like me, just like you, Irene, we struggle, you're afraid, we have goals, you want to do better, you want to serve more, you want to make more money. So we love the part of the audience. So I think a good starting point is understanding that if you're in business, you got to get close to your audience, to ideal prospects, what you call avatar, prospect, buyer profile. If you're a loan officer, you're talking about the real estate agents or the consumers, right? So be spending time building a database, building an avatar, really understanding who you're speaking to, who you're presenting to.
Yes, I love that. And years ago, you taught me something that I had never heard before. And I know it sounds so basic now, but I had never heard it at the time. It was, there is one-to-one, there's one-to-many, right? There's either one, explain to us.
Well, my background, I work for a guy named Tony Robbins. Some people have heard about as a motivational speaker. And I always ask, I never assume. So I worked for Tony Robbins from 2002 to 2008. So I was doing talks. And in 2009, I opened up Influencology with my business partner, Jeff Farrell. And one day I was listening to an audiobook. And this guy said, if you create your own field, you cannot be wrong. And I'm like, Influencology, right? Because I always believed that to be successful in life, if you were to stop and think about it every single day, you wake up, you got to influence yourself to take action, to go to the gym, to eat healthy, to do the things that your loan officer, make those phone calls, call those real estate agents, prospecting, right? That's number one. Number two is the influence one-on-one. When you're communicating to your kids, or you're having a meeting in Starbucks, or you have a one-on-one appointment via Zoom. Then you have one-to-many, which is not one-to-many drinking, but like one-to-many communication. That nowadays I would say there's two one-to-many is one is traditional public speaking presentation. If you're a loan officer, for example, when you go to a real estate office, do a talk or do a lunch and learn at an association, for example, and then obviously nowadays with technology, which is amazing, like we're doing here, one-to-many, one to the masses, right? You're recording via using technology to reach as many people as possible. So that is the framework.
Yeah, so I love that because I thought you can do one-to-one. And I never, before I met you and learned from you, I never realized how important using the influencology tools that you gave me was important in the one-on-one conversations. I always thought of it as, being speaking in front of people and speaking in big groups. But learning how important it is in your one-to-one communication is also really important.
You talk about loan officers, for example. Now, nowadays with social media, the beauty about recording videos, creating podcasts, or creating content is because when you want to have the one-on-one situation as a loan officer, for example, when you're going to meet a real estate agent for the first time, if you have a lot of good content, good videos, good information before the meeting, there's a concept called persuasion, not persuasion, persuasion. That means that what happens before the event shapes how people do during the events. So whatever they saw, they heard prior to the event, at some level, influences what people do during the event. And if you stop and you think about in terms of communication research, there's 3 levels of attitude. I know you're great at talking about attitude and mindset. I mean, you really are. I always love your talks on your communication, self-talks. But in communication research, you talk about these 3 levels. Attitude shaping, that means when someone doesn't know anything about you, and you shape someone's attitude, right? For example, if you're the first time listening to me here in your podcast, you'll be like, who's this Roberto guy? The guy with an accent? Who's that guy? So I'm shaping your attitude. That's number 1. Then we have attitude changing. When you change someone's attitude, as a loan officer, for example, you have a real estate agent that they're not doing business with you, then start referring to you. So attitude changing. And the most important one, right, is the third one, where most professionals forget about it, which is attitude reinforcing. How do you reinforce, kind of like once you get married, right? How do you keep the marriage with love and passion, excitement, right? So when you have a new relationship, so you have attitude reinforcing. So the cool thing about communication and the cool thing about doing talks and recording videos is that number 1, you can shape someone's attitude. And then when you have your one-on-one, hopefully if you do a good job, when you do a good job, you can change someone's attitude and then you can reinforce someone's attitude of working with you long term.
Things are different now in the social media world than they were 10 or 13 years ago when I first met you, or like 14 years ago when I first met you, 15 years ago. But I remember you doing video, and I did video. I learned from Carl White how to do video. The same videos that worked then don't necessarily work in the algorithms and everything that they do now.
Yeah.
But it was so
Yeah.
fun to start that whole video process and do it. And I remember watching you do videos from the airport. And tell us about how you did it. Like anyone who's listening, look up Roberto Monaco on YouTube and look at his videos.
Yeah, there's some old videos, Irene. I remember one of my favorite videos. The end of 2008, beginning of 2009. I can't believe it has been, 16 years. 3 things happened. Number 1, everybody got a hold of a smartphone, right? So now they could record. Number 2, YouTube became big. So now you could get the video and upload. And then you have broadband internet. That means that you could transfer the file. So I remember 2009, 2010, video market went crazy. And one of the biggest excuses that, by the way, 16 years have passed, Irene, but a lot of people still carrying those excuses. They say, oh, I don't have time to record videos. And then one of my favorite ones, one time I was working at Starbucks, and I went to the Starbucks bathroom and I recorded a video. I said, hey, if you are busy at work, that you cannot record, and you come home and your kids and your wife don't allow you to record videos, come to Starbucks bathroom here and record a video with me, I was kind of like making fun because people have all these excuses that we're recording, right? They want to be perfect. So that's the journey started. And I want to inspire people, if you're not doing video marketing consistently, there's so many amazing tools nowadays to record videos, and the format has changed. Nowadays, the most important thing is Reels, right? So Reels is the attitude shaping. They get to know, they get exposed to people that don't
Yes.
know you, and they get interest. Then they're going to listen to your podcast. Then they're going to jump into the 30-minute conversation or half an hour
Yeah.
conversation. So it's important to do both, right?
Yeah, it really is. But you were one of the early implementers of that, and I just love that about you. So tell us, you mentioned Tony Robbins. Tell us how you got interested in opening the company Influencology.
My background was in banking in Brazil. And I remember when I graduated in Brazil from my degree in finance, I was 25. I remember I looked at the president of the bank. It was a Banco do Brasil, it was a gigantic bank, 150,000 employees. And I remember I asked one question. I said, if I work the next 30 years, do I want to be the president of the bank? Because that's the highest it could go. And I had this gut feeling, no, right? And at that time, nobody quit that job because Banco do Brasil was like a federal bank. So once you get in, you're set.
Yeah.
Now, you're not gonna make a lot of money, but just to have an idea, I was 25 and I had 48 paid days a year of vacation already.
Whoa.
Right? No, that's right. So I remember telling my mom, I was like, I'm gonna quit. And my mom was like, you're crazy, you cannot quit. I'm quitting. So I went to Europe and I traveled. Then eventually I came to America, got my MBA in marketing. And I always been super passionate about helping people win. I just
Yes.
didn't know. Back in the day, growing up, coaching wasn't a thing in Brazil. Right? So coaching becomes big, I don't know, 20 years ago here. So I got involved with Tony Robbins. Then after Tony Robbins, it was a great experience. I had 2 jobs at Tony. One, I was doing around 400 talks a year promoting Tony Robbins events. So I used to go to a town 4 months before Tony Robbins does his events, and we used to do talks, real estate offices, mortgage companies. And then my second job, I started doing speaking training. And a lot of the guys that I hired and trained, they went out, they started doing talks. And a lot of people asked them, hey, who taught you how to speak? And they said, oh, Roberto guy. Eventually, people start reaching out to me, hey, can you help me? Then 2009, I say, okay, it's time to do my own thing. So that's how it started. What I love about, for me, Irene, the reason I started Influencology is because I really believe in a core on ethical influence. I think influence can be life-changing. For example, someone's afraid to buy a house and a loan officer goes in and you work with that person and you show a path and someone buys American Dream and you change someone's life.
Yes.
Right? Someone who doesn't understand much about communication does your training, Irene, has many, many amazing reviews. And now you create a loan partner, and now the loan partner is going to alleviate the stress of loan officers in the future, help them close more business. His life changed. The loan officer just got, 10 hours, 15 hours a month back his family. So when you have the mindset of what I do, I really change lives, then I feel like it's a more obligation for us to do so. So for me, because I had so many reps on speaking, thousands, and I started going to events and I saw so many people struggling. Also, I saw so many people have a good story that say, hey, you know what, I would love to do it, but they are controlled by their fears, limiting beliefs. I say, you know what, I want to do something about it. So that's when I started 16 years ago, going strong. And I love speaking more than ever. Like I done our class, Influence from the Front. Last one was February. I was lit. People were lit. And I was like, I have the most fun ever. And I've been doing this class for 16 years. So I'm more in love with what I do than when I started.
I love that. Tell us about influencing from the front, what it is, and when is your next class, which I will be at, by the way.
I know, super excited.
Yeah, I'm super
so
excited.
Basically, Influence for the Front is a very unique experience. It's a 2.5-day experience where I help presenters to get in touch with their story and to be able to eliminate any fear, any limitations, any barriers, and be able to articulate that story at the highest level possible so that they can create win-win outcomes where their audience win, the planet wins, and they win. And my ultimate goal, people come to me and say, hey, I have goals. I want to close more. I want to have more confidence. I want to become a great storyteller. I want to launch a business. I want to launch a podcast, have all these goals. My goal is just one for them, not only to help them achieve these goals, obviously, but I want to make sure everybody who attends absolutely loves speaking, because when you love speaking, speaking loves you back.
Yeah.
So when you love the art of communicating, sharing, giving, inspiring, motivating, then good things will come out, right? Good relationships, friends, clients, good things come out. So have the mindset of like, oh, I have to record a podcast. I have to the talk. My coach told me I gotta do my own event. No, you don't have to. Is really a blessing.
Yes.
Especially nowadays, Irene, we talk about video marketing. Now, nowadays, a 30-second reel is too long, right? Think about that.
Yes.
No, do a 15-second because a 30-second, what? Right? Now, and then we're doing a talk, for example, we record a podcast, and now we have an opportunity to be in front of people that long. So I feel like, and I realized too in this journey that this is an important point here, my perspective, the higher you go in any profession, in any field, I work with 55 industries. The higher you go, the more important communication is, right?
Yes.
Nothing against 7-Eleven, right? I go to 7-Eleven sometimes. But if you are a cashier at 7-Eleven and you think about, hey, have you ever thought about taking a communication class, public speaking class? That person not thinking about it. But if you go on a CEO of a company that has to influence 5,000 people, I promise you that guy, that girl has taken many communication classes, right?
Yes.
Because the higher you go, the more important your communication is.
Yes. And I think this class coming up, tell us the date?
Yeah, it's going to be June 6th and 8th. So I'll break down this whole class and experience into like some core areas. The first one is confidence. So my goal is to help people overcome the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt, anxiety, and being able to speak with confidence. The second area I like to call presentation structure is how you organize messages. Right? If you're recording a 1-minute video or you're doing a 10-minute talk, how you organize messages. Number 3, storytelling. Storytelling I'm a big storyteller. I love storytelling. So I spend 8 hours talking about storytelling, doing a lot of exercises. The science of charisma, because we all have. My last 2 videos was about charisma, because you can have the best ideas, but if you cannot engage people, attract people, they're not going to listen to you. And the last part, which is super fun, from a very loving place, we create an opportunity for people to practice and do talks. So this is not a class where you go home and you got to try to figure out. Actually, the homework is done there. So it's super fun, very intimate. You limit to 30 people. And it's Atlanta, super nice area in Buckhead, many restaurants around, super cool. And we train. It's super fun. I'm super grateful, Irene, that you're joining us.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I've been there with my husband, Kevin. I think twice we've been there.
Yeah.
And then I've taken my son, Kenny, with us because he wanted to go. He's learned so much from you. And first time I went alone, by myself. And then Kevin joined me. My whole, each one of them have come. And it's exciting. But you know what? It's been a long time and it's time for a refresher. I think no matter what you still need to have refreshers.
Beautiful.
You need to go in and have a refresher and say, here I am. I'm at a different place now than I was then. I'm talking about different things.
Yeah.
I'm presenting different things. I'm helping different people. And so I'm super excited.
You know what's the cool thing about Irene? I had a guy, his name is Dr. Dean. He took my class 10 times. He goes, exaggerating. Like the guy has a problem learning. No, he lives in Atlanta. So the point being is, by the way, I don't recommend taking my class 10 times, right? But the point being is that every time, if I'm the same coach 6 months from now, I don't deserve to be a coach.
Yeah, that's how I feel too as a coach. Yeah. If I'm the same coach or the same trainer I was 6 months ago or 6 years ago, then something's wrong. Yeah.
So like one of the things going to be different for you, I feel, when you came. Do you remember the year that you came, Irene?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
How long ago was it the last time?
That was, the last one was it's been over 10 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So back in the day, I used to have us do a PowerPoint slides. So now I don't do slides anymore. The whole 3 days. It's fascinating the level of engagement when you do and we go 12 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours with no slides. I have those sticky notes and start writing and put on the wall. By the time you're done, the room is yellow and people love it. They love it because it's so engaging. It's so engaging
Yes.
and it's so super fun. Highly, highly encourage if you're in any field and you listen to us, join us. We offer, I come up with this idea 16 years ago, 110% money back guarantee. That means that sign up for a class. If you don't like it, the only condition is you gotta go through it. You go through it. If you don't like it, Roberto don't like it, you don't have to give me a reason. I refund you 110% of your money. By the way, in 16 years, I had zero refund. So I think
Never.
I'm doing something good.
No,
Yeah.
what you do is so engaging and you care about everybody and you're helpful and you're right there in the trenches with us teaching. That's what I love about. And I've also done your virtual training when you after COVID you had
I
virtual.
remember that. I remember that.
Yes, Kenny and I both got on that with you too. So that's been super super helpful. You know, Roberto, I know I've told you this many many times, but you have completely changed my life
Oh, thank you so
in
much, Eric.
so many ways. I can't even count all the ways that you've changed my life. And we've become friends over the years as well. But it started out with me going to an Influencology event. It
I
started out,
appreciate that very
I was
much.
introduced to you by Carl White,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'll never forget the science of what was it
The,
called?
the psychology of execution.
That was it. The
The two
psychology of
days, the two
execution.
days, yeah, in
Yes.
Florida. That was awesome. That
It
was
was
awesome.
so amazing. And you got into our minds. You helped us with our mindset. When I left there, I was on fire. And I said, I was a loan officer at the time. And I said, I can do this many loans. And I had the number. I put the number up everywhere in my office and I hit the number more than one, a lot. I hit the number and I was so excited. But it was because you helped me switch my mindset.
When people come to our class, they think of public speaking class. And I have, if you go to the website, Influence It from the Front, you're going to see 200 video testimonials. And a lot of those videos, I go like super crazy into the science of communication. But the first 6 hours, I don't talk about that. I just get in the headspace because if the headspace is not what's supposed to be, all the amazing information, people are not going to use it. You know?
Yes. Yeah. It's so tell me what you've done with so when I knew you, you weren't even married yet. You hadn't even
Yeah,
met Katie yet or
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
You weren't a father yet or anything.
I
So
know.
I got to see like
You
that whole
really saw everything.
transition.
Yeah, you saw
Yeah,
everything.
I did. And I remember how happy you were when you met her and what a beautiful wedding you had. And now you have kids. And tell us what you have done intentionally. And it's just part of you. It's not like you intentionally did it, but it has intention, right? With our kids, we do have
Oh,
intention.
100%. Yeah, 100%. You
Yeah.
know, as far as what I've done with them, as far as being a dad,
Yeah. Being a dad and also showing them how to influence people.
yeah. So I have couple things, two things. Number one, as far as being a dad, as an entrepreneur, we're all busy. And growing up, my dad wasn't much on my life, but everything that I didn't get from my dad, I got from my mom in double. So my mom is my superhero, right?
Yeah.
So when I start having kids, have two kids, I decide consciously to create priorities in my house. So I used to wake up at 6, then I went 5:35, 4:34. So I'm a 4 a.m. guy now
Uh-huh.
because at 5:30, and the reason I wake up at 4 is because I want to have Roberto time, and then when I go work hard, then 5:30 is dinner, right? So being able to have dinner with my family every night. Out of a year, 365 days, probably I miss maybe, I don't know, 10 if I'm traveling, maybe
Uh-huh.
15, but I never miss. So being able to prioritize that has been big. Now the second point on storytelling and communication has been amazing. For 2 years, I had this exercise that I did. You know those speakers badge that you have, Erin, that when you go to a conference, they put your name?
Yes.
I had one, and I put storytellers only, and I put a penny behind. So after dinner, my kids are young, I put the speaker badge on them, I introduced them,
I love that.
and they had to tell a story, right? And then after they tell the story, they can take the penny out, right? So we did it, and it's amazing how comfortable they became speaking. 2 Thanksgivings ago, we had a big dinner. On Thanksgiving, people go around, start talking.
Yes.
And some people growing up, people choking, getting nervous. And then I had Sophia was 5, Phoenix is 3, just talking about how grateful they were. And people look at them like, can't believe it, and just like owning, right? So that's the beauty. And one more quick story about, it happened 2 years ago. Sophia had a fundraiser for school. And my wife said, okay, gotta ask the $200. You gotta ask the grandparents for the money, right? So whatever. So I was Sunday morning, and I forgot to ask the grandparents. My wife is going to yoga. She goes, hey, let's record a video to send our grandparents to ask money for the fundraiser. I say, okay, no problem. So my wife goes to yoga, and I literally got the IFF manual, opening, pre-frame, body pose and close. I put Sophia in front of a camera and say, just say this. So she said, I recorded, and then I'm like, you know what? The video's so good. I'm like, I'm gonna blast all of my social media, and I'm, instead of telling the school she goes to, because I don't want any creepers, I'm gonna have people message me. Irene, she went, and there's 500 kids in the school. She went from 0, the last, because she hasn't done any fundraiser.
Right.
Like in a week, #1, broke the record. Like people, I had people from literally all over the world, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Europe, donating. Oh, I
remember that.
It was fascinating. And all she cared, the #1 student would get some ice cream with the principal. She goes, did I get ice cream, Dad? I'm like, yeah, I got ice cream, you know? So that stuff works. Works for a 5-year-old, works for a 50-year-old. So that stuff works.
It does. And it's important that you are intentional. I mean, it's who you are, but it's important, it's intentional to teach them when they're young. You know, yesterday I was coaching somebody and I said, you know, Kenny is really good at writing notes. We were talking about writing handwritten notes. And I said, he's been writing them since he was 10 years old or younger.
Wow,
and they're
beautiful.
like, really? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I've been taking him to personal growth events since he was 11. Mm-hmm. And he learned because he saw us doing it. And we would have him write, like if somebody gave him something or somebody said something nice about him, he'd write a note to them. He's an amazing note writer. And I've had loan officers where he's gone to events and then they send me a note. They send me a picture, a text. Look what your son sent to me.
Wow.
And I never knew he was doing that as an adult until they sent me the text and said that. So my point of telling you this is that they pick up on things just because of who we are, who you are, what they're caught, not taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are taught as well, but they're caught.
I love that story, Irene. I love this story.
Yeah. So it's really important that your kids learn what you do. I have a grandson right now that's interested in the mortgage business because he's been watching my YouTube videos and Instagram and and he's like, I want to learn the mortgage business. I said, well, he says, you've got a training company and my uncles are in the mortgage business. And, you know, so I just think it's funny.
Oh, I love it. How many years have you been total in the mortgage industry, Irene?
I was in the mortgage business over 21 years.
That's beautiful. Now the training part, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I started in 97, time ago.
That's a lot of experience. I love it.
Yeah.
Many stories you have.
Oh yeah, lots of stories. But I haven't been in it for about 5 or 6 years now because I'm focusing on the training company.
And the training, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, and coaching in the training company. I want to make sure that I stayed focused on that. Are you holding off on training your loan partners, your loan assistants, your team members and support staff on how to wow your clients? Are they getting that kind of training from you? You probably plan on training them if you get a few extra hours, but when does that happen realistically? And meanwhile, your team is doing the best they can with the information that they have. But you know, this kind of training really doesn't exist anywhere else. When you do the training, that means you're not as responsive as you want to be with your clients and you're not hitting your closing and income goals as a loan officer. So how much is it costing you to not have a team that's properly trained how to wow clients and referral partners so that they only want to work with you because of the great experience that they're getting? We teach them how to use efficient step-by-step processes and systems that work. How to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks and loans close on time and even early. How to build wonderful relationships with clients. How to wow people so they go, man, that was an amazing experience. The members of his or her team are amazing. They're so on it. how to use scripts and dialogues for winning clients, setting expectations, and communicating with clients so that you can prevent problems down the road. How to handle difficult clients, how to make clients feel appreciated and valued, and how to handle and overcome objections. It might be time to ask for some help. That's why we're here. Loan Team Training has our next live WOW training coming up. We train your team for you so you can focus on closing loans. Check it out at loanteamtraining.com for our next class and see how many 5-star reviews we have from past WOW training participants and their loan officers who sent them at loanteamtrainingreviews.com. Remember, it's an interactive virtual training with live trainers, and we train any of your support staff that is communicating with clients and referral partners. Our sessions are 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. Check us out and sign your loan partner or team member up at loanteamtraining.com. Anybody, not just a loan officer, real estate agents, everybody does one-to-one, if not one-to-many presentations. And everyone's on a Zoom meeting. Everybody's talking to people and influencing people. So they should, each one of them, whoever's listening to this, should go to your event. And if they can't get into the June one, then they can go to the next one.
Yeah, I'll have another one. I usually have 3 a year, so I have one in October. But if you can, June is going to be awesome.
Yes, there's going to be some really great people there.
And a lot of times, Irene, people focus on, oh, I already know my message, but there's other things too that they're unconsciously communicating, they're not aware. For example, I was coaching this person and I had the person to send me the video. I transcribed the video, put in a Word document, and I count the number of I versus you that person said in a communication, right? And guess what you think by the way, I have this down to a science, right? The person who says more I than you or your in a talk convert way less than the person who says more you and your, right? But people now, who's counting the amount of I and you? Nobody is, but I am. Why? Because communication research talks about those things matter. Influencing is a stacking process. It's never just one thing. It's never just, oh, give them the close or give them the question. It's never one thing. It's a combination of the things. It's a combination of your mindset. It's a combination of how organized your message is. It's a combination of how engaging you are. I just wrote this morning a post talk about, and this communication research, this is not my idea. My communication research talks about, in average, when you're speaking to a group, when you're doing here, around the mind wanders 30% of the time. So 30% of the time, if you're not working really hard to grab people's attention, their minds are in Hawaii on the beach somewhere, right? They're not thinking about your message. So stuff like that. It's like, man, I thought I had them, Roberto, my slides were good, my stories are good. No, you got to work extra hard. There's a lot of things that you can do to bring people in, to capture attention, to regain their attention during the presentation, during the talk, so that it can be effective for sure.
Yeah. It's amazing if you just pay attention and you watch your recordings afterwards. Like we do our WOW training and our client conversion training on virtual. It's virtual, but we watch it afterwards. It's like game film, right? To get better at it.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I just got this new camera, and I just being honest here and, being clear with everyone. I got this new camera and I still feel like I need to look at the camera, and I'm looking at you instead. And I feel like I'm looking too low. Those are the kinds of things that you have to notice about what you're doing. When I go and give a presentation, I have someone record it, not just so that I could use it for content on social media, but so that I can see what I'm doing and I can change.
100%. And most people, by the way, that is the psychology of a winner, right? Trying to watch yourself in a film. Beautiful. Most people are like, oh, I hate myself on video. I hate myself on, right? But you got to go through it. You got to go through it. You got to go through it.
Yeah, you do. You were talking about how the landscape has changed on social media in like 30 seconds. but it's important what we say during that 30
Oh,
seconds.
100%.
That's been
100%.
the hardest part for me, Roberto, is condensing because I'm very wordy. And so I'm learning to condense what I'm saying into 30 seconds. And it's been really hard.
It's really hard. It's really. I remember when I after so at Tony Robbins camp for 6 years, we were doing a 45-minute presentation in average. I remember when I started recording videos, I bought my little flip camera, and I got really excited, right? And I couldn't record anything less than 10 minutes because like, what? And now, and back in the day, 3 4 minutes was the goal. Now it's like 13 seconds, you know? Yeah, that's why they have this amazing AI tools now, like
Yes.
Script or Opus Script. I'm not promoting them. I use both, and if you can get a video uploaded, and they can create reels. Obviously, when you do a 50-second soundbite or a 30-second soundbite, sometimes you cannot compare that to a traditional presentation when you're meeting someone on Zoom or a coffee house or a talk. It's just different.
Right.
It's just different.
So in influencing from the front, do you talk about one-on-one still and one-to-many, or is it mostly one-to-many?
Is mostly one-to-many, and 90% of the tools you can use one-on-one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I think the biggest shift that from the class, from when you went there, Irene, to now, I go heavy on storytelling.
I love that.
And storytelling, there's a format, and storytelling is one of the most effective tools for one-on-one communication. So between eye contact, body language, storytelling, charisma, eliminating filler words, having confidence, 100% the skills that you transfer from group communication, video, and one-on-one are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are the same. Now, as far as like messaging structure, there's so many different contexts. But the cool thing about it is that when you build, the way we build talks, we use a methodology called chunking. When you build a chunk, when you're explaining your ideas one-on-one, the same information that we use to build a talk, you can use the one-on-one conversation, 100%.
Yeah.
Primarily, the biggest difference in a one-on-one communication, you're going to ask way more questions and you're going to listen more when you're doing a talk, right? That is one of the biggest differences. There's other differences when you talk about like presentation delivery. When you're doing a talk, for example, you always want to bring a higher energy level. You want to be more expressive. When you're like doing one-on-one, you don't need to do that, right? So there are some differences. Obviously, there's some differences. I always tell our students that context shapes communication, right? But I would say the vast 90% of the tools they will learn there, they'll learn one-on-one presentation for sure, 100%.
You know, a couple minutes ago, I caught myself after I said it, and I didn't say anything yet, but I'm going to go back because I think it's important for people to know this. I caught myself saying it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really hard. That's not good self-talk.
That's not good.
No. And I caught
That's very
myself,
good.
but I wasn't able to correct it immediately. But I'm going back to correct it on purpose, intentionally, because it's not good self-talk to say it's really hard. You turn that around and you say, it's not hard for me at all. It's easy. I can do this.
There's a saying that goes, awareness is strong enough to break a pattern. So that's once you become conscious, become aware of communicating, you'll be like, oh, it's too hard. It's not working for me anymore. And you drop it. I love that. I love it. It's just like we're doing a class where there's a lot of communication research talks about filler words, ums and ahs, for example. I just reviewed a presentation today. This presenter spoke for an hour, had 213 souls. And I said, that this is not my opinion. I say, if you look at the research, you're converting less. You have less influence. Whatever the measurement, you have less impact. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, to break the pattern, the filler words is becoming aware. When you start listening to yourself, when you start rewatching your videos, you become aware, become conscious what you're saying.
Yes. Or looking at the camera, what you're saying, all of those things make a difference.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
So you also do, I don't know how much of this you do, but you do help people create presentations as well, one-on-one sometimes.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know you did for me when I did a presentation last year.
We do a lot of that.
Yeah. I loved the one-on-one coaching because you're very specific. It's not group coaching, it's one-on-one, and it's worth every penny.
Yeah, thank you. A good presentation is an extension of your soul, is an extension of your heart.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about AI, right? AI. Now, AI is great. I love AI. AI is
Me
really
too.
powerful. Yeah. I always tell people AI is really powerful. So let's say you have a topic and you can go to AI and say, hey, write a presentation about this. AI will do in 5 minutes,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, maybe less in 1 minute. So what is the point? What is the goal? Why have a lot of people working? Because there's one thing that AI is going to have a hard time to help you achieve is transform the content into a transformation experience to your
Yeah.
audience. My new standard when I'm coaching someone, by the way, AI was never able to generate that yet, right? When I coach someone, Irene, my goal is to have goosebumps. When someone speaks, has goosebumps. Unless if I don't get goosebumps, I know the talk's not gonna be good. I mean, I'm not crazy. Look, I use AI every day. AI never gave me goosebumps, so it's kind of like I still have what going on. Because the goosebumps comes from people experiences, their stories, and giving them the courage to pull the stories to be able to illustrate their research. I think AI is a great tool for research, right?
Yes.
Amazing. Instead of spending 10 hours of research, you spend like maybe 10 minutes now. This is great.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end of the day, what are you bringing? What kind of ideas are you bringing to the world, right? How your ideas are communicated are filtered by your values, your belief systems, your experiences, right? Because if you're gonna do AI presentation and vomit information, do they have access to AI anyway? So
Exactly.
why are you speaking? Why are you speaking anyway? I mean, literally,
Yes.
why? They have on their phones. They don't need you. So
Mm-hmm.
they need to hear your own. If you're a leader, right? That's why when you talk about leadership communication, there's two things I always focus on: action, right? Because it's not only about talking and inspiring. If you don't do anything, you got to back it up with action. But you can, I feel like you can change the world through action communication. Every day you wake up, right? You're communicating to yourself, you're communicating with one person, you're communicating to groups, you're communicating through video, and you got to take action. So those two things you got to master, right?
Yeah. I'm so grateful for you, Roberto, and for all that you do to help people because I know you so well, and I knew it the minute I met you that you come from love. You care about everybody that you're helping. And that's your motivation, is to help people. And that's why we connected so well, because I feel the same way.
100%. I owe that to my mom. My mom has the biggest influence on me, 100%.
Yes.
And I think my mom. If you think about unconditional love, you think about my mom. So for me, sometimes as an entrepreneur, we forget about the message. It becomes business, business, business. But for me, if you want to be successful people, you gotta love people. Now you gotta be sometimes tough love.
Of
I'm all about
course.
tough love too, of course. But you gotta, but the foundation, like the foundation, it has to be for me. The peak moments in my career, the peak moments is not when I'm doing a talk.
Mhm.
It's not in front of 5,000 people. The peak moments when I get the text from my clients or the videos of them speaking, them changing lives, them doing their thing. You
Yeah,
recording, you record, because now I feel like part of me, little tiny part of me, is there with them. You know,
exactly.
so that's with the peak experiences in my career comes not from my own experiences, comes from my clients' experiences.
Yes. Knowing that you've taught them something and they're doing something with it. I always tell people this when I'm coaching them and when I'm training them is it's great to come to a class and it's great to be here in our wow training or in our client conversion training. But what's even better is for you to go back and don't just put the workbook away, but do something
Yeah.
with it. Take one thing that you learned and start implementing that one thing. And then you can do a second thing and a third thing, but just start with one and go back for your loan officer and show them what you learned by implementing that one thing. That's where the fun is. Like you said, hearing that they've implemented it.
One thing that has dramatically changed my life, and hopefully, if you do this exercise, it will change your life forever. I promise you.
Love this.
And hold me accountable 6 months from now. Every day when the day ends, get a notebook, get a pen, and write down what is the story of the day. Do I hear anything There's something unique, challenging. Did I have to overcome something? What is the story of the day?
Okay.
And
I'm
you
writing
start
that right now.
and you start collecting, Irene, you start collecting. Oh yeah, I had that story. That's this happened, this happened, this happened. And what happened is you start collecting those stories, those experiences, and then you start sharing. And what's going to happen is you're going to realize how important your life experiences are to educate, to inspire, to teach other people.
Mm.
If you were to stop and think about all the leaders that you respect, could be in a context of self-development, training, politics, spirituality, whatever the context is, a lot of the great communicators, they always have personal stories, personal experience they share.
Yes.
And they think like, oh, that is magical. How come he has this story I don't have? By the way, we all have.
We do.
The only difference is that in a very organized manner, they capture and then they share, capture and share, capture and share. And if you do this enough times, Irene, you're gonna see how amazing communication is. Because now, if you're gonna do a podcast, if you wanna record a video, if you're gonna do a talk, you're gonna have a database of all these stories, all these experiences, all these anecdotes that will give life to your message. They're gonna be congruent to you. You don't have to memorize them because they happen to you. They're gonna be authentic, gonna be genuine, right?
Mm.
So that exercise alone will change your life.
That was worth listening to the whole podcast for whoever's
Yeah,
listening today. I'll tell you
yeah.
what, that was worth it. And I love that. I wrote it down. What's the story of the day? And start collecting your
Yeah,
experiences.
like I have like an ongoing. I have a gigantic Google Doc,
Yes.
all right? And some of the stories already. When I have it, you're looking for a story idea, just like one phrase. Oh, this has happened, right? So let me give you how I use it. Very practical. I want to tell a quick story here.
Yes.
I would say it was January or February. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, which is the weather is amazing. It's hot, right? But the winter gets a little cold, and this January, something happened that happened last time happened 7 years. We woke up on Wednesday, and the whole city was covered with snow. I'm talking about white powder crazy. I live in Charleston, right, South Carolina. So obviously everything stopped. The school shut down. Now, a month prior to it, like in December, I had asked my kids. I love the beach from Brazil originally, so I go to the beach all year round. And I say, hey, let's go to spend, walk on the beach Christmas Day, whatever. And it's 55.
Uh-huh.
And my kids goes, oh no, it's too cold. Too cold, 55, too cold. Can't go. Cannot convince them. So on that day, the snow, when I woke up in the morning, everything was powder, was like 28. My kids, we don't have snow gear because there's no snow never here. And they went outside the ring and then played for 8 hours. I couldn't get them out of the snow. Couldn't. And I'm like, so that evening, I'm confused, like, at 55, I want to walk on the beach, it's too cold. But it's when 28, they want to spend 8 hours in the snow. Why? Because the snow is unique. The snow is different. The snow is special. And just like that, you're unique, you're different, and you're special. You just have to embrace that and let other people know.
That's awesome. I got the goosebumps.
Oh, you got the goosebumps? Here we go.
I did.
You better, right? You better. You better. You better. Right?
That's
So that is the whole point. So that's how I use it. Well, at that night, I'm like, oh, I didn't have that story down. I did, but it was something weird, right? It's weird. At 55, then when I go today, I just capture my thought. It's weird. I capture. And then the next day I'm thinking, oh yeah, there was a story here.
mm-hmm.
Right? So now, just like that, I have hundreds of stories. If I go to AI is not gonna help me find that. AI is not gonna write that for me.
That's
Because
right.
and even if you were, I say, write a story about the I will not have the same emotion and power telling because it didn't happen to me. So that is kind of like That's when I say you gotta lead with your stories. Lead. You have to embrace your communication, embrace your life experiences. When you embrace that, truly embrace, and that becomes your brand, becomes your. That's how you stand out as a loan officer. That's how when you stand out as a loan partner, right? Truly.
Yes. Boy, that was amazing. I love that. Where can people find you on social media, Roberto?
Yeah, they go Roberto Monaco or influence. So I'm like you know Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. Roberto Monaco. I'm everywhere. Like or influencology. Influencology. I try to be every day, everywhere. You know.
Yes, no, that's great. Because people need to see your stories. They need to see your videos and hear your stories and that type of thing. And I just love the fact that you're doing one of these influencing from the front. So go to influencingfromthefront.com and you'll get the dates anytime. But if you can make it, go in June because there's going to be a great group of people there.
Yeah.
I'm going to
You're gonna
be
be there,
there.
and I'm gonna be there. We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, we're
And
going to have a
I'll
good time.
tell you guys, it's super fun. I think the biggest, when there's so many takeaways from doing this class, because people think it's a communication class, it's a speaking class. Of course it is, but it's way bigger than that.
Yes.
It's bigger than that because you have life experiences, stories, things that happen to you. And after spending 2.5 days with us in our process, you're going to realize, oh, all those things happened to me because I'm the only one able to tell them.
Yes. And you're leaving a legacy when you do it.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
People ask me what legacy do you want to leave your family, your children, the people that know you? It's the experiences that I've had, that I've learned from, that other people have learned from, and that's the legacy that I want to leave. So I need to be doing more video. I know it. I know it. I have a mentor, Neil Dingra, who has been
Hmm.
teaching me, and I'm in his mastermind group, and I've been learning so much, but I have not been implementing it as much as I should. And now I'm even more convinced that I need to be doing that more.
In my experience, when you start doing, because a lot of times we don't know what we're gonna say, because we always look for outside in. Most people, they don't have communication training. They think outside in. What is the idea? What is the book? What is the AI is going to tell me? They write a prompt, write a content marketing calendar, right? But they realize the power is inside out.
Yes.
The power is like, yeah, what's happening in my life? What did I learn? What did I see? What happened to me? What my wins, my successes, my failures, my mistakes.
Yeah,
That's the fun stuff.
it
That is
is.
the easy stuff. And when you embrace that, it goes like, oh, I got it. And then, when your communication becomes to a whole new level.
When I see people's videos on Instagram and social media, the ones where there's the famous people that are sharing their mistakes and things that they've done or problems that they've had, to me that means more because they're being vulnerable.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. Do you remember, Roberto, years ago in Newport Beach, we
Yeah.
had an event there, or you had an event there, and I came to it with Carl and the Mortgage Marketing Animals and some other people. And there was a lady there, I think her name was Marjorie, and she was petrified to speak, but she forced herself to go. I guess her family talked her into it, or somebody talked her into going. She was absolutely petrified. And I remember I was lucky enough to go to dinner with you guys before she spoke. And Jeff said to me at dinner, he said, Irene, you're going to see the transformation for Marjorie. She's going to transform into somebody else by the end of the 2 days. And I was like, wow. And sure enough, she did.
Yeah.
So what did you do with her to help her transform at that? Kind of give people a little bit of peek behind the curtain of what you do.
When it comes to overcoming the mindset, Irene, is a combination, in my experience, a combination between addressing the beliefs they have about speaking. Because usually, if I say a word like ice cream, for example, everybody has an emotional attachment or attitude with ice cream, and it's based with our first experience eating ice cream, the most intense experience eating ice cream, and the last experience eating ice cream, right? So if you think about public speaking, what is the first experience public speaking? Usually not very good.
Right.
The teacher put in front of a class, people start laughing. The most intense experience is like you're doing a talk and standing ovation, high-fiving, or you do a talk and people like, okay, whatever, right? Usually it's not that very good. And then the third one is the last talk. So you combine the first, the most intense, the last, that is the attitude. That's kind of like, and stays there. So they create association. So my job is to go inside their head and change the association.
Yes.
All right. So we have a process that we do, but that is kind of like, I want to change the association. That's one. And then the second thing that we change, after change the association, the second thing is change how they see themselves, truly. Because when you change how you see yourself, your audience change how they see you.
Yes.
Right? Look, in a bottom line here, let's say you have two amazing loan officers, right? A and B. Mm-hmm. Same market, same company, same pretty much team, same process, same everything pretty much, right? One loan officer, her identity is, I'm a great loan officer, right? Loan officer A. The other one, his identity is, I'm a great loan officer and I'm an educator, a teacher, right? I'm an advocate for home buying, right? Let's say if everything is the same and the only difference is one, she's or him or her see herself as a great loan officer. This person here, yeah, I'm a great loan officer and I'm a teacher, advocate, right? So who's gonna do better? We know everybody says this person because this person is advocating for a cause.
Yes.
So once I change the association about what speaking is, and number two, I help people expand their identity so they see themselves differently. Then again, then I was like, I don't do much. Then it's like, okay, here's the technique because they're ready. They go. They
do. And she did. And I'll never forget that because that was my first experience with you. And I remember or watching you transform someone's life like that. And you made it very clear that's what you were going to do. And she didn't believe you at the beginning.
Oh yeah, a lot of
And
people don't believe it. Yeah.
she was shaking, like shaking. But I give her credit because she showed up.
Yeah.
And
one time, Irene, this is like I did this presentation in Vegas. It was a small group, 20 people. And a guy came to me and said, hey man, I want to come to class. I heard about you and your work. I have this big fear of speaking. Can you help me? I'm like, 100%, right? So they sign up. And then 3 months later, my class, right? It's a small group, 30 people. And this lady shows up. And I'm looking the roster and say, I'm sorry, but you're not registered. And she said, well, originally my husband signed up to overcome his fear, but he was so afraid that he sent me instead. And I'm like, how will I help? No, I don't do telepathy. I don't do magic. I'm not a magician. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta be here. You gotta do the work. Show up. Just show up. No.
Oh, that's funny.
I couldn't help him, Marie.
Oh man, but you helped her, I'm sure.
I help her, but him still.
But that day you transformed Marjorie's life that day. And I know that followed her. I haven't kept in touch with her or anything since then. I did for a little while, but then, we kind of lost touch. Yeah. But she changed her life that day in ways that you and I will never even see.
You never will see. Yeah. There's so many. And that is the beauty. I don't want to use the word unlock because that is an AI word, right? But I mean, truly unleash people, like in a good way. Like,
yes,
you just liberate them, and they're like, okay, so can I if I speak and make mistakes? Okay, yes. Look, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be awesome. There's a difference. Your audience, they don't expect you to be perfect because nobody is. They expect to be all in for them. Yes. They expect to be, and then you're always in control of that. You're always in control of that. So. Yes. Yeah, your audience does not expect to be perfect. They expect you to be awesome. They expect to be all in for them. And that mindset, that attitude, that psychology, you're always in control. 100% of the time, all the time.
Yes. All in for them, not for us.
All in for them.
For them.
All in for them. Yeah, yes. 100%.
And saying to yourself, I know you have an incantation that you do. Tell us about it.
Oh, I have many incantations.
Before you speak. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the biggest one, I'll share the biggest one. Because as I mentioned, love is my thing. So what I do before every audience, when I have people in a room, I close my eye, and usually I have someone introducing me or someone speaking. I'm about to speak. I go in a corner. I close my eyes, and then I think about. I have memories of me and my mom, like loving moments. Then I have memories of me and my wife, loving moments. Then I have loving moments with my daughter and my son. And really, I'm just closing my eyes and replaying those images. And I have this feeling taking over because whatever you focus on, you feel. So I'm like, and then in silence, I look at them and I go, I love you, 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 I love you. Now sometimes it's like, I love you, I love you, I love you, because it's like 300 people, 400 people. But then it's crazy how there's a shift in energy, Irene. It's crazy. And we just show up like, wow, I just love these people. And it's almost like it's a bubble of love. Like when you go Thanksgiving, you see your family, just like, well, you're not thinking about it, it's just this big love fest. That's what it is for me. There's zero fear, zero uncertainty, zero nervousness, zero doubt, zero anxiety, because the cup is full, right?
Yeah.
So that's my number one tool. I have other ones, but to be in that state, right? And that's what we want to do. Be in that state of loving, passion, caring, being all in for people.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
I've learned a couple of quite a few really good things from you. But one of the things I've learned is to change your state, And if you're not feeling like, you're just not feeling it, to change your state, get up, move around, and that type of thing. And then just think about who you're talking to. Like you said, know who you're speaking to, and feel that love for them. Feel like I can help them. I'm here to help people today. Somebody needs the message that I have,
100%.
and it's 100% for them. And just love your audience.
The people who struggle with communication, Irene, they make, and I want to say in a very gentle way, very caring way, empathetic way, loving way. Usually they don't know that it's not consciously, but they're making the communication about them.
Yes.
Right? They're like, even if you're like, how do I look? How do I sound? I want to be judged. Can I, right? So they have this conversation about them the whole time.
Yes.
And that sometimes paralyzes them. So the cool thing about when you can shift, and when you shift, right? I'm not saying that when you speak, people are not gonna judge you. They will, but I cannot control judgment.
Exactly.
I cannot control if you're gonna like this podcast or not. I can give my best here, have a good time with Irene, and just share from my heart. But I cannot control how you're gonna perceive.
Right.
Right. And the same thing, like if you come from the intention of love and caring, over and over and over, then communication becomes fun. I think a lot of times when you think about Irene presentations, one-on-one, group, video, whatever, a lot of people, they really have this for them. The associations like, I have to go to the DMV to renew my license, right? They're forced to do it.
Yes.
Right? It's like, it's part of the job, No, it's not part of it. It's like, when you go from have to want to, or then everything changes. So
yes, it does. Another thing that I learned from you is to tell yourself, I'm not afraid. I'm not fearful. I'm excited. I'm not, because it's an emotion. So tell us about how you taught me that. Like, how do you teach people about that?
What I notice, sometimes people have the emotion, they have that feeling in their bodies. And one person, they keep telling themselves, I'm petrified here. This is going to be crazy. This is bad. I'm afraid. And the other person is literally feeling the same thing. And just like, then I cannot go to love them up. I can go to just show up. I can go to serve them. So who is right? Right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like when you start, I'll never tell people to not feel anything before your talk or presentation, because you want to feel. It is important. You want to have the edge. You want to just embrace the edge. That's like, this is important. If you're feeling because it's important, it's like, hey, embrace it. It's important. Showtime, right? It's showtime.
Yeah. So I tell myself that when I start to get a little bit nervous and I start to think it's nerves, I think, no, you're excited. It's an emotion.
Is it? Yeah, because good things are about to happen, right?
Exactly. You're going to help people today. So, somebody's going to get something from your message today, and it's going to change their life
Hmm.
because it's what they needed.
Tell a quick story. This is like 2010. This big company hired me to do 5 keynotes in a weekend. So I planned, and I did it, and I crushed it. And right after I promised them a webinar, and doing the event, the 3-day event, I mean, the impact, the love, the support, the energy was level 10. Right? It's
Yeah.
people like, best keynote, da da da. So okay. So a month passed by. So now I'm going to do this webinar. I show up at this meeting, was a different energy. People like kind of like, I was being friendly, and it's kind of like, and I'm like, did I do something wrong? And I'm like, I was really confused. Nobody told me anything. Well, everybody was polite, but I could sense something. I asked, did anything happen between the event and now? No, no, nothing happened. I'm like, man, usually I'm pretty good at figure out the energy where the people are. So okay, whatever. I'm not gonna. I know I haven't done anything wrong. So 2 years passed by. 2 years passed by. One day I go to Facebook, I receive a message, pling, from one of the top guys for the company. Say, Roberto, I just want to say, 2 years ago I saw you speak on this company, and you gave me so much courage. So much, you empowered me so much that I left the company to follow my dreams. They may not like it because you empower me too much, but you changed my life. Thank me. It's like, so now I'm like, oh, I finally got it. Why people are pissed off with me because, you know what I mean? So sometimes you're gonna give your heart, you give your best, and sometimes like you're gonna take 2 years to see how well you do. But
Oh, that's so great. Well, thank you so much for being on today, Roberto. I appreciate you so much. And I'm so grateful for you and for your
Irene, thanks
family
so
too.
much. Thanks so much. I'm so proud of you. So proud of all the amazing training that you're doing, the lives you're changing. You keep showing up on my feeds, the reviews, testimonials of your beautiful work. Thank you so much. God bless you and your family. And I can't wait to see you in June.
Yes, I can't wait to see you too. So, and enjoy the rest of your day.